Hey guys, welcome back to another Wrong Ones podcast. I'm Dinesh Sagi, joined by Amar and Punk. How are we, gents?
Hello. Couldn't have been better.
Top of the world. Top of the world, man.
I bet, yes. Big day, obviously, in the Champions Trophy.
Yep.
We haven't done it in a bit, but I know everyone's quite excited, happy, chuffed, irrespective the different teams you support. So obviously, yay! India. I see Amar clearly representing the Champions Trophy champions 2025. Thanks to Skipper Rohit and the boys.
Dubai 2025. Amar?
Yes.
Fakr hai.
Fuck right.
Yes, definitely a blessing
Let's start it.
for audience. Wherever you are, I hope you enjoy the victory and also, the few weeks of Champions Trophy. When we thought, the 50 over cricket's going to die down, there's not really a lot of interest in it. I think the Champions Trophy sort of validated it, not just for Indian fans, but I think it's across other teams as well. And it's good to have a shorter version in terms of only 8 teams. I know there's other teams who would want to be part of it. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it the cutoff. But I think this is not a tournament or a World Cup where you can have many teams. Given it's a one-day game. Both sides play 50 overs, so it has to be restricted to that 8 or 10 teams so that there is excitement, there is interest, and they can actually play it in a shorter window. That way, all the other T20 leagues and everything else is not getting disrupted. Is my opinion. You guys agree on that, or should they do anything different on the Champions Trophy going forward?
No, I totally agree with that. This is the best format, I think. Even in the World Cups last time, we saw that it went on for so long, and there are so many associate teams which they play, and of course they in the run up they play the bigger teams as well. But I think this is the best format. Every game is very important. You lose 2 games and you're out of the tournament. This keeps the excitement levels up. So this is the best format. Even for the World Cup, they should follow this format. I think the associate nations, they have to play separately, and whoever wins, 2 teams can come and play the big boys. I think this is the way to go.
Absolutely, and we've seen that with Afghanistan, right? And it sort of created some excitement for the likes of Sri Lanka and West Indies as well. And obviously, Afghanistan played better cricket over the last couple of years, and they obviously managed to make it to the top 8, and then they qualify. So I think that's like a fair opportunity for the associate teams as well. Punk, anything you would like to add before we go into the details of today's game?
No, like for 50 overs, right? This is good. Having within 2-3 weeks, if you're able to complete your entire tournament. Because
Yeah.
you're talking about like 6-7 hours.
Mhm.
Even for the World Cup, having 10 matches, like 9 matches each, it's a long, it's too much. Like generally, like you should have like around 6 matches, and then you qualify for your semis, and then go forward. That should be like the format for the 50 over World Cup. For Champions Trophy, I think this is the best format because there's always a chance for a team to lose and then come back, like how New Zealand came back, and so you win 2 matches, you can still qualify for the semis. With the previous Champions Trophy, if you just like lost one and then you were just knocked out. It was basically the ICC knockout tournament, right? That's what it started
Yes.
with.
Mhm.
But this Champions Trophy is a better format,
Yeah.
shorter, and and just within 2 weeks, you're able to get the results out.
Mhm.
So 2 or 3 weeks, right? And that should be the ideal for a 50 over World Cup. Like even for the main 50 over World Cup, right? If they can look into and keep the game a bit, like say 7 to 8 games, then you should be able to win the World Cup, like the finals within 8 games maximum,
Yeah.
right? And that should be the maximum way to go through. India, how many? India played 3, 4, 5. So within 5 games, you win the finals, right? You win 5 games, you win the finals. Say in the 50 over, if you win 8 games, you should win the finals. That's how they
Yeah.
should keep it. It
Yeah,
keeps
they can't make
interest
it.
in the games better.
Absolutely, yeah. That was the whole point, right? You can't extend it to a longer period. And selfishly for someone like me, who can't get that many days any
And
longer, where you can sit and watch all day cricket. We want to
yeah,
restrict the calendar so that we can actually
there's one more way to keep the associate nations, interested in the game. Having World Cup associate nation, like say anybody 10 and below. So
Mhm.
from 11 all the way till 100, anybody can win. Like so,
Yeah.
that keeps them interested. Right, they can have a World Cup within them, right, and
Yeah.
see how if that can be organized somewhere.
No, absolutely. They should do the same thing that happens in like football, right? Obviously with the Europe and stuff, they play the Champions League, the top team. But any team who's just finished outside the top four, especially for Premier League, they play in the Europa League, and it's still
Yeah.
like trophy, it's still a recognition. And the next following season, you can come up and obviously play with the big boys. Maybe sort of introduce something like that for the associate teams, and whoever wins and the runners up of the associate
Then
teams World Cup, they come play in the main World Cup. Sort of
the
thing.
winner and the runners-up come and play 9 and 10.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely,
So
yes.
8 teams qualify by ranking, and 9 and 10, the winners come and play, and
Yeah.
they have something in hand as well, right? So
Yeah.
that could be one way of going forward, like for 50 overs. But just to add, like before we start, like this thing, it's good that India won this.
Mhm.
It's not just because like we are supporting India or something, but it's good for the game because 50 over was dying.
Yes.
Right, and India winning this Champions Trophy gives you a lease for another 2 to 5 years.
Mhm.
It gives you that momentum to keep going,
Yeah.
because the financial capital comes through with India, because 50 was India won, so they will try to continue going for that, right? So that helps a lot for the game as well.
Absolutely, that's where all the revenue is coming from, right? So
Yeah.
it's equally important. They have to take all of that into account. Talking about revenue, right? Obviously, the final, obviously, for various reasons, happened in Dubai, with India obviously playing New Zealand today. Just to roll back how it started off with a split model. The league game has been played in Pakistan, and anyone who's playing India sort of traveled to Dubai, and then come semi-final, India beat Australia. And they made their way to the final, and then simultaneously New Zealand, who were in the same group and only lost one league game, that was against India. Obviously, beat South Africa in the semis, and they made their way. In terms of today's game, quick summary. In terms of obviously New Zealand won the toss, they batted first. They managed to put 251 for 7 on board of their 50 overs, and then India managed to chase a target 254 for 6 in 49 overs. New Zealand standpoint, obviously now Rachin Ravindra, top of the order, started off really well. He scored a quick fire 37, and then Daryl Mitchell built a good partnership in the middle with the likes of Lathan Phillips and Bracewell. I think for me, key was Michael Bracewell's innings towards the end. When they're really struggling, and 220 sort of seemed a difficult target. They've actually managed to push and get to the 250. So starting off right in terms of winning toss and opting to bat, do you think that was a right call from New Zealand and Mitchell Starkner? Amar? Or Pankya? One of you can take it.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, Amar, you want me to? Okay. It was definitely the right call. So there's no due. Yeah. And if you see, India had struggled. If it was another 20 odd runs, 25 odd runs, right, India would have struggled to reach that score. And with Matt Henry not being around, it was the right call to bat first. And just to give you a stats, right? So when India was bowling, it was just like 2 degrees or 2.1 degrees. It was the least spin, in the entire 4-5 matches, which India has played, like 5 matches basically, right? From the very beginning till this. So this is the 5th match. The spin was the least when India was bowling. That is when New Zealand was batting. It was around 2 degrees or something of spin. Compared to the last match and the Australia match, it was like 2 points, around about 3, and the one match with the Australia one, and before that, the New Zealand one, which was just the dead rubber, right? That was around 2.5, 2.7 degrees. But this match, India one was bowling was just 2 degrees. And when New Zealand came to bowl, and I did message you guys, right, that the ball is gripping. So it was like 3.5. Close to so 3.5, right? So it was turning a lot, and the ball was gripping. So India had a difficult batting conditions than what New Zealand had. But see, the two things: New Zealand did not have good wrist spinners, right? So that deception was not there, right? Of like the ball. So with finger spinners, it's easier to pick the ball. Either it's going to come in, but the ball won't. With wrist spinners, right? You have the googly, and you go get more mystery spin, and you get more bounce. So with New Zealand not having a good wrist spinner, right? That made it a bit difficult, right? You if you look at the way the guy Bracewell bowled, he's an off spinner, right? And generally, like, it's not a matchup for right-handers. India had top 4 right-handers, right? And he hardly gave 30 odd runs, and he took 2 wickets. So it just showed. And the ball which Kohli got, the first ball, that turned a lot, right, from off, and that was hitting the wicket. So it just shows you New Zealand had actually the game plan set. They're lucky to win the toss and get to bat first. It's just that they did not have like India's batting depth, right? And the bowling which India has, right? They were able to pull back New Zealand really well. Or this was like a 280, especially for batting first, 280, 285 pitch. So it's just that India was too good for them.
Absolutely, and you made a very good point, right? It was a 280 pitch, and obviously, they sort of fell short by 30 runs. And obviously, kudos to India bowling, right? Because we know how destructive Rachin Ravindra has been in this series. He really started well. Obviously, in the quick 530, but obviously, Kuldeep Yadav made that early inroads with picking up both Rachin Ravindra, sorry, and obviously, Ken Williamson, and that sort of
Varun took the first wicket, actually.
Yeah, that was Will Young, right?
Yeah, so Varun took the first wicket of.
Yes, I'm referring to Rachin Ravindra and Ken Williamson.
Yeah.
That spell, right? That couple of overs where they lost 2 quick wickets, right?
That changed the game, momentum.
Really. So, how important do you think it was, like, in a final to have, like, a good opening partnership and sort of one batter holding on to, like, one end, and like sort of like building a partnership?
Yeah, massive. It holds a massive importance. But obviously, following up from the toss and just adding to Punk's point, that there were 2 other things. Like in a big final, you bat first, put up a big score, and then you kind of apply scoreboard pressure to the other team. And the second thing is, New Zealand had chased in the previous game where they lost, and they lost really badly, 205 all out. So they didn't want to bat second. So this was a perfect opportunity for them. And this, in a final, you always want to bat first. So that was that. But it was very important that they build innings, because this was not a high-scoring pitch. Of course, we saw that the turn was not as much as the previous games, but that also gives an opportunity to score big. And it was very evident that both Will Young and Rachin Ravindra, they came with a game plan, and the game plan was straight forward, that you score as much as possible of the quick bowlers before the spinners come in. You have to maximize your early overs, and they went for it really. But then it was only when Varun was introduced, and then he took Will Young. But he was I think on the 8th over, but by that time they were playing their shots. Shami had gone for some runs, and Pandya had gone for 16 of one of his overs. So by that time they were kind of in a good run, right? But we saw by end of 10th over they were at 69 and for 1. And all of a sudden, they were looking really, really good, and they looked like they were on for like 270, 280. But then Rohit Sharma brought in Kuldeep Yadav, and first ball, Rachin Ravindra, he couldn't read ball of his arm, and he was clean bowled. He totally cleaned him up. But yeah, answering your question, that opening stand had to be there. Will Young would have liked to score more runs, but he only could score 15. But then Rachin, he thought, he will bat with Kane Williamson. But then again, Kuldeep Yadav after cleaning up Rachin, he took Kane Williamson's wicket as well. Absolutely brilliant ball. He thought, he had to reach out the ball, and then he just looped the ball to Kuldeep, which he didn't make any mistake. Which in fact, it was a similar kind of thing which Shami did, but Shami dropped that catch. It was much easier than the previous game which he had in the Australia game, but he
Yeah.
dropped that again. So yeah, Kuldeep, full marks to Kuldeep. He held on to that catch.
Mhm.
I think Rachin had been also lucky. He was dropped. Was it Rachin who was dropped by Shreyas Iyer as well? So fielding was really bad today initially from India. But yeah, and then Daryl Mitchell came in, and he scored brilliant 63, and he gave some stand, um, and pushed the scoreboard. But the thing was that when the spinners were on, they were bowling really tight lines from Indian spinners, and that's why the New Zealand batters had to kind of struggle a lot in terms of the openers were going really well, so we thought that it would be easier, but then when the spinners came on, they really halted the run. But yeah, Daryl Mitchell, he was he played his 63 runs really well. Tom Latham came, and he tried to give a stand, but then a brilliant ball by Jadeja, and he got LBW that time. Previously, he had a couple of misses, I would say, and there was one I think DRS call as well, but that didn't work. Glenn Phillips, after that, he tried to push on the scored 2 boundaries and 1 6, and yet again we saw Rohit Sharma bringing in Varun, and he totally cleaned Glenn Phillips as well. And we had been waiting for this matchup this time again, and we thought maybe Glenn Phillips would have some sort of idea to tackle him, but it didn't happen again. Then, as you mentioned, Michael Bracewell came in, and he scored brilliant 53 or 40 balls, scored 3 boundaries and 2 sixes. So that's how they've got a move on with the Michael Bracewell's help, and scored 251 in the end. A well fought 251, but it was always with India's batting lineup, it was always not looking enough. But the way Indian spinners bowled, they must have thought, okay, New Zealand spinners will also come in handy. But yeah, 251, a brilliant batting effort in those conditions.
Yeah, so just a thought, right? I was thinking about it earlier. When they've lost 2 early wickets, New Zealand, do you think could have done anything different in terms of, obviously they know India is high on spin, like they've got 4 spinners. Maybe try someone like sending in Glenn Phillips at number 3 and save like Williamson or someone, like just and see counter attack, do something different out of and it's 50 over. They generally obviously do things differently, obviously in a T20, sort of take those risks. But do you think this is one of those games maybe they could have tried sending Phillips up the order and try and upset Indian plans?
They couldn't, it didn't make sense. Like Williamson is, one of the best players against spin, and Rachin, right? So, see, if not for Kuldeep, right, taking that quick 2 wickets of Rachin and Williamson, right, this was a 280. They would have got 280, 285.
Yes.
Maybe they could have touched 300 as well.
Yeah.
It was Kuldeep, that ball which he got, and he got both of them, the best players against spin, right, is Rachin and Williamson. So, and India stranglehold, and you have to get your best players to play the most runs. Glenn Phillips is more of a hard hitter, right? So if he comes, say, around about the 35th over, he will be more fruitful, and he would be able to take that. But to get the game till 35th over, right, it is important for the best players to bat against the best this thing. India spin stranglehold, right? They were too good for for them, even with, and it was not gripping for them, like, what happened with, if say, these guys, New Zealand would have batted second,
Yeah.
I don't think so they would have got to 50,
Sure.
the amount of spin. So India's skill was like way apart from what New Zealand had.
Yeah.
And so I don't see a way out for them. It was that, like, just the main batsman who could take the game forward, right, got out early. And that's where Mitchell, he went against the norm. And he's like the third best player of spin for them in that lineup, which all of us agree, right? He took a backseat, and what I understand from the way he was playing, he does not play that slow. I think it's the slowest 50 runs for
Yeah.
95 odd balls. I like, maybe it was from the management of the coach, or they would have told him, like, just continue, bat till long, and people will play around you. And he did exactly that. It's just that they couldn't accelerate the way they wanted it. India was able to hold them back. And if you see, they were like supposed to get 220, till Shami, and Hardik, they got hit for the last 2-3 overs.
Yes.
Or it would have been a 220-225, right? So they still try to, go towards the 250, but the 20-30 runs was the difference. And if you see, if they had like 280 or 275,
Yeah.
it would have been difficult for India because of the way the ball was gripping, and there was no dew in Dubai at all, this time of the year. So it was but difficult. Like, see, the only thing which I can see here is your skill apart. India's 4 spinners, right? They're not part-time spinners. You see, they are proper spinners, right? Test match spin quadrants.
Yeah.
Akshar, they bat well. It's, you're lucky to have 2 of those, like, batting depth, right? They can actually open the innings for you, Jadeja and Akshar Patel, right? And they are like, test match spinners.
Yeah.
So they can bowl line and length, continuously. They can bowl. So having that caliber, it's rare to have, and especially on that pitch. So you have to understand that it was not easy for New Zealand to come out of the stranglehold which India put in, right? So they couldn't have done much. It's just they missed the key bowlers. One thing they could have done is like got a wrist spinner in Ish Shodhi. He would have been a handful on this, and Ish Shodhi can bat a bit as well. So that's something, like, and like people who came to the Dubai to play India, right? They should have seen that India is just playing with one front line.
Front and seamer, right? Yes.
Yeah. And they're winning. So this is why I like Gautam Gambhir, this horses for courses thing, right? He went out of the norm to bring Varun Chakrabarti and made him play and drop, and like, if India would have lost, right, they would have criticized this move. But he got, and Varun was the key. If you see the last 3 matches, it was him who turned around. And whenever India was struggling, he's basically the Bumrah of spin for India. Yeah. Australia, right, when they lost, like, I'm just trying to like compare, like, it's good time just to compare what happened, right? When Australia came to play India in the semis, right, and when they knew that you didn't have your 3 main fast bowlers, and Cummins, Hazelwood, and Stark, they could have brought in Nathan Lyon. Yeah. Because of the conditions, right? So they could have put him in the 15, and when you play with India in Dubai, right, they could have he would have been handful. You see what Bracewell did. Bracewell is not a great spinner like Nathan. Yeah. So I'm just comparing. You see England again, they could have bought in Bashir. You see, so these are like some of the guys, the team did not have a strategy of playing. They just went, okay, it's, this is my team and I'm going to play. India was the only team who took that risk of bringing Varun. And, he showed it. Like, he was like 9 or 10 wickets in 3 matches, right? And the next best is Shami, and I think so it was Matt Henry, most probably.
Matt Henry is top, like, 4 games,
11
wickets.
Yeah.
Obviously, he didn't play in the
And
final, but
and
yes, just won it.
Varun was
3
9
games,
wickets.
9 wickets at an
So
average of 15
it
something.
just shows that having a good team management and horses for courses, right? If you get the right um, team players for the right conditions, you were going to win. And Varun was the difference in the last 3 matches, just to let everybody know. And this
Yeah,
is why you have to have the correct players to ball in the correct scenarios, right? And the pitch conditions, understand them. So
absolutely. Also, credit,
they could have done.
credit to Rohit as well, right? It's not just obviously picking him
Yeah.
in the squad, but also making sure ball him at the right time, and obviously bringing him so early, sort of helped India sort of put New Zealand on the back foot. Maybe
Yeah,
one.
and you have 6 bowlers, right?
Mhm.
And Hardik is the only one who is slightly, you can say, an all-rounder
Mhm.
bowling. But you have 5 good bowlers with you, and
Yeah,
2 of them are really good all-rounders. So having that, no other team has that capability. Test match bowling options, right? I'm talking about like pure test match
Mhm.
bowlers with Jadeja and Akshar, right? You
Yeah,
just look around, you don't have that cap who can bat as well. So India had the batting, that had the talent, and
Mhm.
that's why when they scored 250, I knew like they will struggle here and there, but they will win. I don't see anybody was panicked. Oh,
Mhm.
India's because of the batting lineup, right? And number 8 came back, and
Yeah.
they scored, right? So you have the talent, So if you have the talent, use it. Don't put them, sitting there. So
Absolutely right. So quickly shifting focus, obviously, the chase, order partnership at the top of the order. They managed to put 100 in probably 9 overs something. It was really quick, and obviously Rohit Sharma unleashed himself, and then Shubman Gill sort of played the supporting role. And before New Zealand sort of realized, there was 100 runs on the board with 3 seamers getting trashed left, right, and center until the spinners came in. So yeah, maybe a word on Rohit Sharma, especially obviously the skipper, big final, lot of uh, interest in him, because obviously he hasn't had sort of the World Cup we were expecting from him, and that's for obvious reasons, right? He took a different approach. He just decided to hit from ball one, either I score 1 run or score 100 runs. It doesn't matter. That's my approach. And that sort of paid off in today's innings, Amar.
It certainly did, and we have seen this from Rohit Sharma recently. He goes early on, goes for the kill, and he understands that in these kind of tricky pitches, when you have 251 to chase, it's kind of on the face of it, it doesn't look like that, but then these tricky pitches, you have to have a good start, so that later on when the spin comes in, your middle order will score at a lower rate. So he understands that the more runs he make up front will be beneficial to the middle order batsman, and he did that. And also, what it does is it shows that intent, and he shows to the opponent that you're up against a killer batting lineup and a killer opener. So they kind of go on a back foot more often than not.
Hmm.
And he played his shots. We saw he likes to go over the infield, and that's what he did. On the other side, Shubman Gill, he's more of a like gap. He looks for gaps, and that's where he scores, Shubman Gill. And we have been talking about this opening pair, which has been doing really well for India, and they complement each other. When Shubman Gill saw that Rohit was going all guns blazing, all he had to do was just knock around and give a good supporting role to his captain.
Yeah.
And he understood that really well, and he did that as well. He played. Shubman Gill scored 31 of 50,
Hmm.
whereas on the other hand, if you see, Rohit Sharma scored 76 of 83.
Yeah.
So you can see that how they were operating there. And when Shubman Gill lost his wicket, it was again I don't think Rohit would have stopped there as well.
Sure.
But of course, Virat Kohli came in and he was out first ball. That brilliant turner from Bracewell, as Punk mentioned, it turned more than that ball got more turn than the average that the spinners got today. But then, talking about Rohit Sharma, brilliant captain, leading from the front, understands the game, understands how important that start is up front, so that other players should not feel that pressure. And this we have seen, on the other end, we have seen that semi-final against South Africa and New Zealand. What South African captain did, Babuma, he didn't give that start. And I think that brought on a lot of pressure to his middle order batsmen. So we can see how important that start is up front.
No,
So,
absolutely right. Yeah. And talking about gaps, obviously, Shubman Gill thought he actually picked the right gap, obviously, until the flying Kiwi somehow interrupted. What a take from Glenn Phillips.
I have slightly take on Rohit as well, like slightly different in terms of.
Of
So, like, I agree in terms of where he went, and he went out like batting fast and getting that. But his wicket, right, that basically opened the Pandora's box for India. And that's why I see why they call Kohli as a chase master. India was not struggling at that point of time. You had slight pressure, and you within the game, right? Good teams will put you in pressure. Right? It depends how you're going to manage that thing out, right?
Yeah.
They were not trying to take singles, and like when you have an option, like when you have your back. So Bracewell was bowling off spinner, right? So the ball comes in, and then you had Rachin Ravindra, right? And Rachin Ravindra, like most of the times, he does not have a impeccable line and length that, his line will shift a lot more. So if you see the ball, right, the line was more on the off stump, and Rohit chases him out. Right? And this is where Rohit sometimes gives away your wickets. And like even the 2023 World Cup finals, right? If you see, he had a good start and he gave away his wicket, right? So this is something which, even he would have felt. India came this close because he had the batting depth till Jadeja at number 8.
Yeah.
And in the World Cup finals, we did not have that batting depth, right? We had proper 5 bowlers. So just, his initial starts and everything was good. But that risk option, right? Especially when the ball was turning so much, it was a wrong shot. And as a captain, he would have realized, thankfully India like crossed the line. But it would have been a better option for him to go against Bracewell when the ball was coming in. There's more chances for him to connect that ball than when the ball is turning away from him, right? So that is something which, and you see Shreyas Iyer also was in pressure, right? He was like some 7 runs of some 20 odd balls. But then, slowly you get an opportunity, it's not like a T20. And this is where the way Rohit and Shreyas were batting at that point of time, it felt like this was like a 300 odd runs were needed. It was not. And as a captain, you don't, when you shut the door on your opponent, right, you do not,
let
give
them back in, right? Yeah,
absolutely. And what Rohit did was like, he let them back in. And but anyways, India has batting depth and the talent again. They were able to cross the line. But it was something which maybe Rohit should have looked into. And going forward, right, you won't get an opportunity like this. That and just to let you know, India was lucky. New Zealand's catching, which Amar, you and me have agreed, right? They're the best fielders.
Yeah.
They dropped a number of catches. So you see, it was not the opponent also in pressure because it's a finals match, but India was lucky. This would have been much more closer than what we see.
Of course, yeah, no, fair enough, right? And obviously, post Rohit, Shreyas Iyer stepped up, and maybe a word on him, because how impressive has he been in the series? Second highest run getter in the series, and obviously top of the chart for India consistently since that England bilateral series. Walks in, scores a quick fire 50-60, that's it, job done. And he's done this throughout the Champions Trophy as well.
He should thank Virat Kohli for his knee problem.
Yeah, absolutely, right? the first game, he wasn't in the top playing 11, and now today he called himself
Then,
a Champions Trophy winner. Like,
We still
yeah,
haven't found the movie name he was watching.
yes, that is still, that is still something we're trying to figure out as well.
Yeah, he comes in. He scores brilliant 48 today. Once again, this middle order, he's doing wonders. And like we have mentioned before as well, the middle order looks good because of him. He's one guy who he's worked on his short balls, and he kind of these days thrive on that. And whenever a stand was needed, he could work the ball around and take singles, work the gaps there, uh, and give a stand. He should have gone on he should have got more than 48, but as a stand, a brilliant ball from Santner. So but yeah, throughout the series he has done this, getting runs in the middle overs when the wickets had fallen, and you know, more often than not, got India to a good score, and in this um, match to a winning score as well. So yeah, the more we have batters like this in the middle overs, especially in ODIs, the more solid Indian batting lineup will look. Um, and with Aksar coming, and then KL Rahul, Hardik Pandya, Ravindra Jadeja. So yeah, he's looking really solid.
Yeah, and just don't forget key contribution of Jadeja as well, right? We need to talk about him as well, right? We haven't talked about him because he's been like the undercurrent, like not getting in man of the matches or something. But that guy has been brilliant, in terms of he's hardly got, but wherever he's got, he's made sure that India, he's there, finishes the game for India, and then with the bowling. And 12 years apart in 2013, though he 4 overs, 24 runs, 2 wickets in the final of the CT 2013 final, and again today, 30 runs, that key wicket, right? And there was one, I think, the missed as well. And then 10 overs, and that fielding, oh my god, that was crazy.
Yes.
The runouts and all, he has been top notch. And just imagine, he's like what, 35, 36 maybe. And I don't know whether
Doesn't
you guys
look like.
know. Yeah, and you didn't notice, right? So there was one throw with Subham Gill, right? He's 22 or 24. The captain bought him in inside the field, and Jadeja was sent to the boundary, and to just make sure that there were no doubles. So it just shows that a 22, 24 years cannot throw the ball that quick, when a 35, 36-year-old can just rattle this thing. And even Kuldeep in his there was a joke between Nasir Hussain and Mike Atherton, like Rohit and Kohli are just going against you. He's like sometimes when Jadeja throws, right, that comes like a bullet. It's so difficult to take the ball, and that's the reason why you just avoid it.
Also,
I don't want to play.
yes,
He just told it after India won the finals, right? So it just shows that we need to talk about Jadeja as well, right? His key contribution at number 8, bowling, and he has been like one guy, reliable bowler, making sure that he bowls that key balls, and does not let the batsman score more than 40, 50 runs of his 10 overs, right? And he has been key with batting and bowling and fielding as well. So all were there, and thereabout. Everybody was in form. Actually, this is the first time I've seen a team in form from 1 to all the way till 11.
Yeah, there's a reason where Ravindra Jadeja is called Sir Ravindra Jadeja. There's a reason.
Absolutely.
100%, right? And we know, he sort of goes under the radar, like your Punky pointed out, but he's a superstar in his own right. Talking about key contributors, two good contributions from KL Rahul, sort of closing out both games, nail biting finishes. Maybe a quick word on him. Obviously, there's a lot of chat. Should he be the keeper? But don't forget, he actually did well behind the wickets. Obviously there are those odd chances that he probably let through, but catches, stumpings. He was key for Rohit, and obviously in the DRS as well. Most of the times he got a spot on, and then obviously contribution with the bat as well. Trying to stay there. score, run a ball, and sort of close the games.
Yeah, early in the tournament, he dropped a couple of catches. Maybe let go a few buys. But as the tournament progressed, he improved, and he did really well. In the semi-final and the final both, we saw that the way he batted, it he played a pivotal role in India's win. Um, he was very sensible when in the semi-final, when he was batting with Kohli, and he was taking the strike, and he took to the attack. But when Kohli got out, then he was moving the scoreboard around by just taking singles or doubles. So we saw him playing a solid role there. And then again today in the finals as well, very, very handy 34 of 33. It looked like India were in a spot of bother, not in trouble, but I would say just a spot of bother. And he looked like he was the sensible batter who was playing every ball to the merits, and he actually brought us to the close to the winning runs as well. So very, very handy runs, and look like someone who, when someone is batting, look like all the worries are gone. So yeah, did not miss Rishabh Pant in these two matches.
Absolutely, yeah. That's sort of on the batting side. Quickly, obviously, in the New Zealand bowling, right? Not a lot from the the seamers. Obviously, like we figured, like it's not going to be a pitch for the seamers, but obviously from a spinner standpoint, Sadner, the captain, he does what he does. His economy is always under that 5 somehow. He picked 2 for 46, but quick wicket for Rachin Ravindra, 1 for 47. He bowled his 10 over quota today for a change, and then Michael Bracewell, 10 overs, 28 runs, 2 wickets. So with his 53. He's bowled a brilliant over as well to sort of make life harder for India. Anything you guys want to add on the bowling side? If not, I would definitely want to call out Rachin Ravindra. What a series, and what a batsman he's turning out to be. So a quick stat on Rachin Ravindra. So apparently, for New Zealand in ICC events, Nathan Aston got 300s. Kane Williamson, who is one of the best batsmen, also has 300s, and he's been playing for God knows how long, like probably 10 years, 12 years, 15 years. And this kid started playing 3 years ago. He's already scored 500s.
It's 500s. Kane's got 4 because in the same match, he
scored 1 more, so Kane. But still, I mean,
absolutely.
And no disrespect to Kane Williamson, obviously, he's a champion batsman. But Rachin Ravindra, what he's turning out to be, especially in the subcontinent, like the 2023 World Cup, and then now this one.
He's a good player of spin. He's a good player of fast bowling as well, right? So they've got a very good, and he's opening as well. So he'll have more opportunity to score more runs than in New Zealand, right? And he's got a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah.
So brilliant, and plus he's an all-rounder, which is rare to find, like an opening batsman who can actually bowl so well. He bowled 10 overs on that pitch.
Yeah.
And he did a very good job of getting Rohit out and the wicket as well. So it's a good find for Australia, for New Zealand.
Yeah.
And having an opening batsman who can bowl, right? So that gives you, they have 7 options, right? It is crazy as well, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good for them, right? Having an opening batsman who can bowl. So what else you want?
Absolutely. Amar, anything you'd like to add for Rachin?
Yeah, he's the future superstar, isn't it? He's already a superstar, but I would say he will be even bigger than what he is right now. A batsman with a great technique. He stands upright. His follow through is really good, and also he has that finesse of the subcontinent batsman as well. He's kind of wristy as well when he's driving the ball, or he can maneuver that with his wrist as well. So all in all, he's kind of already looking like a complete batsman. And as Punk mentioned that he's an all-rounder as well, and what a bloody good all-rounder. And as you can see, we're talking about Santner here, that what a champion spinner he is. But even Rachin Ravindra is not too far away from him. Definitely gives that a frontline spinner option to New Zealand. As games progresses, more matches he plays, he with every game he will learn more. The way he's looking right now, he will be not only New Zealand's best player, but he can be a world's best cricketer as well.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt about that. So yes, the today's player of the match is obviously Rohit Sharma, and then obviously the player of the series went to Rachin Ravindra. So that's the Champions Trophy. That's how it concluded. India, obviously the champions, but don't take anything away from New Zealand as a cricketing nation. They've been brilliant throughout, and one team I definitely want to see them lift a trophy sooner than later. One of the ICC events. They deserve it. They have the team, and even when they lose, you see them you don't really see yes, there is disappointment, but also at the same time there's appreciation to the better team on the day. So yeah, kudos to Black Caps.
And just all the apart from that, India's got the monkey off the back, right? With New Zealand always in ICC tournaments, right? India was always struggling with them, so that helps. And also defeating Australia, right? And knockouts after 2011, right? So that the two monkey off your back, right? So that gives you confidence, right? Anytime we face New Zealand or Australia, right, in knockouts, knockout games, right, there is a sense of a bit of a pressure. This used to happen for India when they used to play South Africa in any of the ICC tournaments. Right? India did not win any matches till 2015. 2015 World Cup, ODI World Cup was the first time when India defeated South Africa in an ICC tournament. So that went off, and after that, India won in 2019 and 2023, and then we've seen the last World Cup finals as well, 2023. So having that monkey off your back, that India does not win against New Zealand in ICC tournaments, that helps a lot going forward as well, and defeating Australia in key ICC knockout as well. So two big gains for India as well going forward.
Yeah. Also, let's not forget Gautam Gambhir. The amount of pressure is walked in post obviously what happened in Australia. Maybe a quick word on Gambhir as well. I mean, he's a champion batter. He's won a World Cup himself, so he sort of knows the pressure and how to sort of tackle. But like Punk, you called out earlier, for him to push someone like Varun Chakrabarti in the squad and then have him play, come in the playing 11.
Right? And when India was when they got Varun for within that when they were playing with England, the 3 ODI series right?
Yes.
So and I told they have to play Varun before and they got Varun and near the cutoff, and so what happened was Varun played well, and you see the ODI the T20 series, right? It was an ideal preparation because India knew that they're going to play in Dubai. They knew it was a spinning track because of the heat conditions, and there were a lot of matches the Dubai Premier League played on those pitches, right? So this was again a used pitch, which India played with Australia, slightly with more sawdust and all that, right? So, but better batting pitch than what India faced with Australian semi-finals. So India knew the conditions well, they prepared well, and with Gambhir there, right, he has a keen knack of picking up horses for courses. This thing, the way KKR won the last IPL as well, if you see, he bought back Sunil Narine to open this thing, and the batting lineup was till 9. You had Varun, and then you had your key bowlers, and the amount of support he has given to Varun, right? And when you know that Varun was doing well, he showed them through the T20 this thing, and believe me, somebody who hasn't debuted, right? Any other coach or management wouldn't take that risk. Right. Dropping Jaiswal, and I did tell that Jaiswal, the only option is to drop Jaiswal and bring in Varun, and that's what he did. and
Yeah.
kudos to this thing, and then bringing them back. And one thing was good about bringing Varun in the dead rubber against New Zealand.
Mhm.
That gave a bit of a confidence for Varun as well. Like, okay, this is a dead rubber. So what happens when you're not in a pressure situation and when you debut in such a key tournament,
Yeah.
it gives the best out of the bowler as well.
Mhm.
And getting him there when the pitches are a bit slightly, getting used because of 2-3 matches already been played there. A brilliant strategy, and have to agree, to just go with one frontline, fast bowler.
Mhm.
You have to have
Yeah.
long. You
Subcontinent,
have
yes.
to,
Obviously, those pitches, yes, suits them.
so with that amount of guts to go through,
Mhm.
and that has to come from the coach. I'm sure he would have been adamant, because no captain, would like take a risk,
Mhm.
uh, you know and being that adamant that Varun did deliver.
Mhm.
So, brilliant pick, brilliant choice. And this is what, going forward, India needs to look into again when they come for the test series here in England. They
Yeah.
have to see who are your right bowlers, right? And your right batsmen. You have to pick up the right combination. In Australia, they did a big mistake,
Mhm.
which I think so they've realized, and now and this is where Gambhir, and winning this Champions Trophy will give Gambhir a bit more hand uh, going forward now,
Mhm.
because now he's got a major trophy, an ICC trophy, right? It's not like a bilateral series or like
Yeah.
an Asia Cup or something. This is a major series after like 8-9 years. Now he'll have more control of who he needs to pick within the team,
Yeah.
at least for the test matches, right?
Mhm.
And you'll have a new captain, and with Rohit now, definitely Rohit's told that he's not going to retire. So if he's going to play till 2027, right, I
Mhm.
think Gambhir have more say of who your teammates are going to be, who the entire team is going to be for the 2027 ODI World Cup.
Mhm.
Same thing with the T20 now in India 2026. Gambhir has now got a much more freer hand
Mhm.
to play the right combinations and bring in the right people, or like horse for courses, right?
Mhm.
Get the right combination. And a coach, when he has that much freedom and getting the right people, no favoritism based on the captain's choice, or if I say this, so that helps as well, right? You need to have that free hand, which Indian coaches have not had for a long time.
Sure.
So this is like the era which is now slowly you will see the coaches having a much more free hand,
Mhm.
getting the right combination. So good for India, good for Gambhir. He's put his foot down, getting Varun play against all odds.
Mhm.
Because I've seen a lot of Twitter thing, oh, why Varun is playing, and how can India play with 4 spinners and just one frontline fast bowler? So
Yeah. Amar, anything you'd like to add? Anything that Punk
Yeah, I mean,
hasn't?
Gambhir, yeah, I think he has covered most of it. There's very,
Done better
you think of anything
analysis.
more
Yes.
than what he has already put forward. But yeah, Gambhir, coming from those big, headline making losses, losing test series against New Zealand at home, and then what, 28 years, 40 years, I don't know what um, the
It
record
was
was.
20 something. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and then coming to Australia, and then again, not winning that after say 10 years.
Mhm.
So these, after these kind of headlines, it was very important
Mhm.
that he wins this Champions Trophy. And to be honest, and that makes his calls even tougher, because if you see, in addition to what Punk already mentioned, he brought in Harshit Rana
Yeah.
along with him. He played him as well, and also we saw he went with KL Rahul in place of Rishabh Pant. He played him, and we saw that the call was absolutely bang on in the semi-final and final.
Mhm.
KL Rahul, did play like he had taken all the worries of the fans of the team, and batted like he should bat in that batting position. Um, so these calls have really worked, and which was like Punk mentioned horses for courses, and they are tough calls when your position is in danger. Whether it was not in danger, that's a different story. But he was coming after those big losses as well. So yeah, kudos to him. He has produced a result, and those results have come uh, after taking such tough calls and sticking to his guns really, and his decision. And like Punk mentioned, he gels really well with Rohit Sharma, and we have seen that hug today as well, between him and Kohli.
Yeah.
So but I think this is good for him, good for Indian cricket as well. So brilliant.
Absolutely. Like kudos to Gambhir as well. The adversity he's gone through and sort of come out on top, and obviously help us win the Champions Trophy. It's brilliant. And like Punk already called out, Rohit's going nowhere. Neither Kohli, as we learned, or Jadeja. So maybe we'll probably see them for the 2027 in India, the next 50-over World Cup.
But the next 50 over World Cup is in South Africa, right? So now this is where India is going to struggle. So Nitish Reddy is one of your fast bowling all rounders, right? But you will have to get some really good. You would need 4 guys fast bowling all rounders to be in the team, right? So India has to find in over this IPL who are your key guys who can actually bat and bowl at 130. You need basically another 2 Hardik Pandyas.
Yeah.
Within the team, because somebody will get injured, right? So one Nitish is definitely one of your guy, right? And then there will be another one India needs to find.
You were right. 26 T20 is in India, and then this is going to be in South Africa.
27.
26 is India and Sri Lanka.
So I'm worried. I'm not worried about the India T20 World Cup.
Yeah.
2026, and I've already told the team which is there. Maybe you will have Pant and Jaiswal back in as your keeper, and depends how Samson bats, and so within Samson and Pant they will definitely be there, and you'll have Jaiswal. So 2026 World Cup is there. You'll have Varun Chakrabarti as well. I don't see Kuldeep maybe because you can have just one bowler, and you'll have Akshar as your other option, and then you'll have Bumrah and other guys there.
Siraj,
so a
couple others, yes.
I don't see Siraj in T20 World Cup. Siraj is not a good T20 bowler anyways. So I don't see Siraj being back in T20, or ODI will be a challenge for Siraj as well going forward, because India is going to bat with number, and this is what I you need to have batsmen till number 8. If India has batsmen till number 8, right, for both ODI and till in your this thing T20, they're going to win.
Sure.
More games than they lose.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's see how things unfold. Obviously, that's a long way off. Immediately, we have the IPL starting. Obviously,
absolutely.
The second week of, in fact, third week of March. It's going to be another festival in India. But yeah, on that note, obviously, India is going to return back to Mumbai. Maybe be some big celebrations there. Which one are you looking forward to post the T20?
Just to add to that, right? Nobody's going to curse the IPL now.
Yes, absolutely.
India's won the Champions Trophy.
Are you saying IPL is not an advantage? That
no,
an
advantage.
What happens?
People see
it is an advantage.
Like Dubai, Punk, like Dubai.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what it's more the Indians definitely they talk about IPL being an advantage and getting new thing, but you see, the IPL has ruined India. India's not won an ICC trophy. That's how it goes, right? Now that is going to silence out, right? So it's going to be silenced. The money bag is coming in, IPL in, a lot of fun, let's enjoy, less pressure on us, because anybody wins, it's it's good for us.
Absolutely.
CSK should win, but that's
yeah, of course.
But then I want Nitish to win as well. I like Nitish so much, so you have Hyderabad there, so it's so difficult sometimes. You want good games, and you want your
he signs off as well. So yeah, there's a lot of expectations, but we'll definitely do maybe a quick preview of IPL in the next couple of weeks for our viewers. But thank you for your time. Like we always say, our opinions. It's all in like lighter note. Anything you want to share, feedback, always welcome.
Do share about Dinesh's sunglasses as
Yeah,
well.
sunglasses today.
Really
Yeah,
too cool.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a big investment I made today. So yes, thank you.
Yeah. You deserve to wear, man. India won.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But
you're not wearing the India T-shirt, but you're wearing blue sunglasses. So
it would have been
that's
nice,
Absolutely.
like if I'm like add a few beers, like
I'm,
I'm
today
over and
I'm like this.
recover.
I'm jolly
Yes,
polly. I'm like,
but
yeah.
it wasn't the reason today. It's
That's me
just
today.
yeah. But yes,
Cool.
yeah, absolutely. On that note, thank you guys. Have a good night.
see you.
We'll wrap up for today. Cheers. Bye. Yes.